Hello and welcome into the very first edition of the House Show for this 2020 season. My name is Eric Ruby and let's get straight to the point. We had some amazing news on Thursday afternoon as the Pac-12 announced that they will be reversing their decision to not play football this semester and that there will be a 7-game conference season starting November 6th. So Sun Devil fans, I'll give you guys a moment, just give you a second, compose yourself, catch your breath, wipe that tear off your eye, and let's talk about how amazing this is going to be. So a couple things to look ahead on this schedule. We don't know who's going to play who and where yet. That will be coming soon enough. The only thing that we do know is that it will be 7 games and that California and Oregon have both gotten confirmations from their state level legislators that it is possible for them to have a season happen. A couple other things. There will be daily testing and another weekly test for all athletes involved, as they have stressed that the health of their student athletes is the most important thing in all of this. And if you want one date to mark down, Sun Devil fans, if you're feeling just a little bit ambitious, I'll give it to you. December 18th, the Pac-12 Conference Championship. So go ahead to your calendar, mark that one down, and maybe you'll see Jaden Daniels and the Sun Devils there as they have a great season ahead of them, and Jackson Zuber will break all of that down in just a bit. But first, part of the reason why we can expect an incredible ASU Sun Devil football season is because of Herm Edwards and his staff, especially what they've been doing in the recruiting scene. Since taking over this program just a season ago, Herm Edwards has hit the ground running when it comes to recruiting, or rolling if you're talking about the Herm train that everybody has been jumping on lately. But he's not to be outdone by his counterpart Bobby Hurley and the ASU basketball team, as they have also been recruiting some of the best high school prospects in the nation and turning the look of this ASU basketball program around and maybe turning them into a powerhouse school. But which one has done it better, football or basketball? Well, our own Mason Kern and Jordan Spurgeon sat down to debate which recruiting trail has been better. Check it out.
That's right, Eric. The Pac-12 is officially back. We've been talking a lot about recruiting, Mason. We're going to see it play out this year. How have you felt about the recruiting cycles in football and men's basketball this year?
Right, and it's a really interesting point because this new crop of talent is coming into both of these programs. But each player currently on the roster is going to get an extra year of eligibility anyway. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see how this new crop of talent gets probably a redshirt year. And then with this new veteran leadership, they get to continue to learn under them. But overall, Herm Edwards and company did a stellar job in the 2020 recruiting cycle. They get 8 4-star prospects, 10 top 100 players from California. No other program in the country did that, Jordan. So it really was a stellar effort. In terms of sheer numbers and star power, Herm Edwards really knocked it out of the park.
Herm Edwards has been crushing it the last couple years, building up that football program. But not a lot of people nationally are talking about Bobby Hurley and the ASU men's basketball team. The big headliners, of course, are Josh Christopher and Marcus Bagley. Christopher being the #1 recruit in ASU men's basketball history. This side of James Harden, also going to wear James Harden's jersey number. There's the comparisons that you can draw there as well. Marcus Bagley is brother Marvin's in the NBA. Marcus could possibly be someone more highly touted down the line than him. Currently projected to be a second-round prospect, but has a chance to play himself into the first round this year. And so ASU men's basketball team and Bobby Hurley are doing a great job with just the overall star power landscape in their recruiting, and that's why I give them the nod over football at this point.
It's difficult because, sure, they have maybe #1 all-time prospect in Josh Christopher, and that's all fine and dandy. But when you look at it, basketball has more time to target specific prospects, right? There's 5 players who play on the court at a given time. You're able to figure out, okay, what are my team's needs? Target star players, earlier. Football, 11 on offense, 11 on defense. So you have to build relationships with more prospects from further across the country. We're seeing that with Herm Edwards and company in the 2021 cycle, commitments from 12 different states right now. But in terms of 2020 and filling the team needs, 4 4-star wide receivers, a 4-star defensive lineman, 2 4-star running backs. The skill position recruiting has been extremely productive, and their ability to kind of get these prospects in, form relationships. Herm Edwards in the family room, you don't beat him. So I don't know if Bobby's got the same kind of pull as Herm does, but Herm in 2020 did a really good job.
Well, yes, Herm is definitely transcendent in the family room, but Bobby Hurley is also a former NBA player. He knows how to get guys to the NBA, especially at the guard position. But looking past the guard position and filling in some team needs, Romello White transfers as a grad student this year. They fill that with a 16-year-old kid out of Ukraine that no one's talking about, Pavlo Ziuba. Now, he's not quite here on campus yet, but he is expected to join the team eventually. And at 16 years old, last year in the 2019 FIBA U16 World Cup, he was the best player on the floor by far, averaged over 14 points per game. He's 6'8", 200 pounds, could possibly be adding weight as well. He's got great handles, he can score in the post, and he's going to fill in a rebounding presence that this team desperately lacked last year outside of Romello White and that they desperately needed to fill this year. And so, yes, they are guard you, but guys like Pavlo Ziuba, get that name right. Remember that name, it's going to be important. Guys like that are really helping this team and the recruitment cycle really shape up for now and in future generations of ASU men's basketball.
And I think it's really important that you know the name, but you also pronounce it right. So I hope you did, Jordan, and fans got to get that right as well. But you talk about transfers and Romello White leaving, obviously, to Ole Miss. ASU football brought in 4 new transfers this year as well on scholarships. So you're going to have 2 projected starters on the offensive line, a projected starter safety in DeAndre Pierce, who's actually Antonio Pierce's son, as well as a running back from the junior college ranks. So the transfer portal, the biggest sleepers really in this 2020 recruiting cycle for the ASU football team came from the transfer market. And those are guys who are going to make a big impact, experienced veterans who can ease the high school recruits in on a deeper and more sophisticated level at the end of the day.
But what does ASU football have? Basketball has guard you. That's something that's continued to be grown upon the last couple of years. Christopher is going to continue that legacy, but we want to hear from you. Herm Edwards, Bobby Hurley, reshaping the course of ASU athletics. Who do you think won this argument, Mason or myself?
It is so hard to choose between those two programs as they have both done incredible things and have stepped up a lot recently when it comes to the recruiting scene. But we'll let you guys decide who you think was better, ASU football or ASU basketball. Let us know down in the comments below. But like I said earlier, there's a lot to look forward to in this season for ASU football. Whether it's returning Jaden Daniels or a lot of the new guys that are coming, there's a lot of things that can happen in this 7-game season. So our own Jackson Zuber sat down and decided to let you guys know maybe what to expect coming up to this season and what this season could be.
Sun Devil fans had so much to be excited for coming into this fall, but the coronavirus epidemic had a thing or two to say about that, as the Pac-12 season was canceled. Now, however, that season is coming back on November 7th, and just like me, it'll be without fans. Let's take a look at what to expect from ASU in the shortened season. The thing is, before the season was originally canceled, the Sun Devils were poised for a fantastic year. Herm Edwards brought in another great recruiting class after an 8-win year that ended in a victory at the Sun Bowl. And really, it was all going to start with the most important position in football, the quarterback. And guys, we have that, and his name is Jaden Daniels. He is an absolute stud. In his first year, Daniels showcased 2 of the most important attributes that a QB1 can have: ball security and poise. He's got ice in his veins. It wasn't all great for him in his freshman year, but he only had 2 interceptions. He doesn't turn the ball over. And no moment was ever too big for the first true freshman ever to start week 1 for the Devils. Just think back to that ever memorable helicopter in week 6 against Wazoo. A quarterback, however, does need someone to throw the ball to, and Daniels was lucky to have first-round talent in Brandon Ayuk around last year. This year could have been more of the same. We're actually going to move on to another guy, so y'all keep up with me. Unlike defenses when they got to deal with my man, stupid swole Frank Darby. When he's not drinking ridiculously sweet tea, he's being a defensive back's worst nightmare. His ability as a deep threat and his use of that to get open on the shorter routes would have been huge in his first year as wide receiver 1 in Tempe. This season was going to be his chance to prove himself as more than the Robin to someone else's Batman, and I believe he has what it takes. Okay, so that's a little taste of what the offense would look like, but let's talk about the other side of the ball. We're focusing in on one player, the centerpiece of this defense, Merlin Robertson. He's had a great first 2 years here at ASU and was put on the 2020 Butt Kissed Award watch list. Yeah, this guy's pretty good. He only missed 8 tackles last year, made 72 of them, and add on 5 tackles for a loss, and it was a solid year for the former Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, but he has the capability for more. Robinson had leaned down in the offseason, and he was ready to take that next step into being elite. Something We're now going to get a chance to see from him and the rest of the team starting in November.
Thank you, Jackson. Now, transitioning over from football back to a little bit of basketball. It is confirmed that both men's and women's basketball will be starting on their original date, November 25th. So again, if you want to take your calendars, mark that one down. You can go ahead and look forward to not only ASU men's basketball, but ASU women's basketball as well. Our own Madden Johnstone Thomas is going to break down some of the new faces that you should be seeing on the court for those Lady Sun Devils this year. So go ahead and buckle up your seatbelt. Make sure your seat and your tray are in the upright position, and maybe grab a little bag if you get a little bit sick from turbulence, because she's going to be taking you guys on a plane ride around the world. So buckle up and get ready. Madden?
Out with the old and in with the new. The Arizona State women's basketball team saw the departure of 6 Sun Devils at the end of last season, which means there are some big shoes to fill with this year's recruiting class. Head coach Charlie Turner-Thorne and her squad will be welcoming 6 new freshmen along with a junior transfer to Tempe from all over North America and beyond. Pack your bags because it's time to go down under. Coming from Sydney, Australia, Imogen Greenslade will have an immediate impact on the team as both centers for the Sun Devils graduated this past season. The 6'4" post player won a silver medal in last year's U20 Australian Championships. Now let's trade in those swimsuits for some snow boots. Coming from up north in Canada, Maggie Besselink is another freshman that will look to have a strong presence for the Sun Devils. She is capable of playing any position on the floor and adds length and versatility as a guard. ESPN.com ranks Besselink 23rd for her position. Making our way back to the United States, guard Jaden Simmons has maroon and gold running through her veins. Daughter of former Sun Devil safety Jason Simmons, she is ranked number 30 at her position by ESPN.com. Turner-Thorne compared her abilities to former Sun Devil Breon January. From Portland, Oregon, Sydney Erickstrup was an all-league performer throughout her high school career. During her junior campaign, she was among league leaders in steals and assists. The 6'1" guard ranks number 31 at her position. Along with these 4 new recruits, the Sun Devils will be joined by Keely Burton-Oliver, Caitlin Levings, and transfer Gabrielle Bosquez. The Sun Devils have 1 senior on their squad this season, guard Brianna Sanders. With half of the roster being underclassmen and new faces, this team needs to mesh together on the fly and be a successful unit on the court in a season that is already up in the air.
Now, before we end our very first show of the semester, and it's been an absolute delight being back here for House of Sparky and doing the house show, I want to leave with some final thoughts. There's been a lot of darkness in the last couple of months, especially surrounding college athletics. Now, how some of that is starting to change, as we've discussed through this show, through not only hope of what the future seasons could be, but the actual reinstatement of the seasons this year, I want to focus on another candle in the dark room, another bright spot at ASU, and that is none other than Remy Martin. Now, the Pac-12 first teamer planned to go to the NBA and declared for the NBA draft after last season, but of course, amidst turmoil and uncertainty in the NBA draft, and of course the NBA in general, he decided it was best for him to pull out and to come back to ASU, to come back home. Now, this is important for a lot of reasons, and it helps a lot of people. Let's break down every single one of those. Now, person number 1 that this helps is, of course, guess who? Remy Martin. Now, Martin was an NBA caliber player at the end of last season, in my own opinion, but there is nothing that an extra season of college basketball wouldn't do to help Remy out. At worst, he stays the same, gains more love in ASU fan base, and has a deeper tie and a deeper connection to Tempe, and has more roots here as he spends another season representing the maroon and gold. But best case scenario, he becomes a better player. He gets more notoriety, and he can get picked in a higher spot for the NBA draft. One of the reasons why Remy Martin pulled out, Coach Hurley said this, was because of the inability to have in-person workouts, and that the workout interview process was not something that could play into Martin's favor. And you guys see it on the court all the time. He's a hustler. He's somebody who brings that energy each and every day, and that's hard to translate through a video. So that's part of the reason why he came back. He can have a stage to represent himself even more. So this helps out, obviously, Remy Martin. Who else does this help out? Bobby Hurley. Because not only is this a great look for Hurley and his program, which I'll get to in a second, it's amazing for this team. Look, going into the season, there was a lot of upstarts. There was a lot of things to look at to get excited about. Obviously, the returning Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year, Alonzo Verge, is an absolute bucket on the court. Young guys like Marcus Bagley and Josh Christopher were coming up and were expected to do so much right off the bat, but with Remy coming back, everybody kind of falls into place. There is a leader, a spearhead, a top of the line, and that is Remy Martin. Everybody files underneath. And that's going to be great for Alonzo Verge as well, because he could thrive being that second option, cutting off of the backdoor screens, cutting just in general. He's so athletic, he's so quick, and he can start running those second units, and it helps the young guys. Not only do they have somebody to look at in practice to model their game after, to do all the little things right, but they have somebody that on the court makes their life so much easier. I guarantee you we're going to see a better Josh Christopher and a better Marcus Bagley because of Remy Martin returning. So it helps Remy, it helps Coach Hurley, and it helps the team. The last thing, and possibly the most important thing if you are a Sun Devil fan, is that this helps the program. Look, Martin could have decided to take a year off to train on his own and to get ready for the next NBA draft, but he didn't. He decided that ASU, the program where he spent the last couple of years, was the best place to come back and get the best opportunity to make it to the league. Because that's the goal, right? To make it to the NBA. So ASU is now in this rare air where they're not only getting great young recruits, but guys want to go there to become pro players, to get into the league. And Martin is a great example of that. This is a culture shift for ASU. Again, Martin could have just gone on his own and said, I'm going to work for the draft, but I'm going to return to ASU because I feel like it gives me the best chance to be better. That's huge for this ASU program as things are starting to turn around in recruiting, and they're starting to get higher up recruits, and their just status in the Pac-12 is rising and rising and rising. Through all the amazing games they've had over the last couple of years that have put them on the map, it's all been leading to this. And Martin is a figurehead of that. So him coming back is so important for the program. Just some final thoughts, a little light in the darkness for all of you Sun Devil fans. I hope that you guys enjoyed this very first edition of the House Show. We'll have shows like this and other shorter videos coming out to you guys soon. So go ahead and jump in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to create for you guys. Until then, my name is Eric Ruby for Jackson Zuber, Madden Johnstone Thomas, Jordan Spurgeon, and Mason Kern. It's been an absolute pleasure being back in front of the camera, entertaining and talking to you guys as always. Until next time, we'll see you soon.